One of my dates was a bit of a problem because my stoma bag farted very loudly during that date, and I just didn't feel like explaining to him what that was all about, so it just didn't go anywhere. Hi, my name is Sarah, and I was diagnosed with bowel cancer in 2018. Today, I'm going to be creating a dating profile for myself and sharing with you my experiences of being in the dating world post-cancer. So the first thing I need to do is find a profile picture. Oh, it's really hard to find just one picture that really sums you up. I know I want one where I'm out, and I also definitely want one that's post-cancer diagnosis, because when I was going through my treatment, I had chemotherapy and I ended up cutting my hair short, so I don't want any pictures with like longer hair because that's not how I look now. I want to be honest about it. I've got one here. I'm at a party, it looks really fun. I think it speaks to like how outgoing I am. Glass of wine in hand, which I think is a good thing. Like, it can't hurt for the person I date to know that I am not a non-drinker. I think these are like important things on which you match and don't match. So I'm gonna go for this one. And also it's like a full body picture. It's really important for me to show what my body looks like post-cancer, because I've got a stoma bag now. I mean, you can't see the bag in shot, but you can see like what my shape is, which I think is important. So yeah, I think this is the one I'm gonna go for. So the next thing I've got to do is fill in the profile bit now. So it's asking my name. That's simple enough. I'm gonna put in Sarah. And then occupation. So I'm a writer performer, which they might not know what that means. Mainly I'm a writer, so I'm gonna put that down. Then they want a little bio on me. I guess I'm gonna start with work stuff, because work is what I'm mainly focused on in life. So I'm gonna put living my best life, working in comedy. I'm a bit worried, like putting that I work in comedy is gonna put blokes off, because I think, you know, they like to think that they're the funny ones, but it is what I do, and I also think it like invites people to respond. It gives me some conversation starters. Then I'm gonna totally go geeky and talk about my hobbies. So my main hobby, embarrassingly, is that I like puzzles. So I'm gonna say I'm really into puzzles. I'm currently working my way through Wordle's back catalogue. And then what else should I put? I'm gonna say I love my friends, my family, and I need another F. I'm gonna say fun times, because I do like going out, I'm outgoing. So that sums me up quite well, I think. Next, it's asking me, the moment my life changed forever. Well, I think this is the point where I might disclose about my previous bowel cancer diagnosis, because I didn't put it right in the top of my bio. I don't like to come straight out saying, oh, I've had cancer. It feels like you make that your personality. On the other hand, I would rather it was in my profile than I have to like bring it into a conversation on a first date. Like, I think it saves a little bit of time to say that I've had bowel cancer in my dating app profile. I don't want to overshare. I don't want to go into loads of detail about that. I'm lucky that I get to say this, but I am now cancer free. And I think that's important to disclose as well, because I think it's important to give people the full story. My first sign that I had this disease was that I actually had blood in my poo. I called 111 and they told me to go straight to hospital. So I did, and from there I was in a sort of roller coaster of different tests and different meetings and stuff like that. So colonoscopy, had a gastroscopy, so the colonoscopy is obviously a tube up your bum, and then a gastroscopy is a tube in your throat. And then off the back of that, more scans, and was eventually given a colorectal surgeon who was able to talk me through the exact nature of the diagnosis, which was stage 3C bowel cancer. and also at the same time give me the plan, which was that I was going to have surgery and then chemotherapy. So it was a very eventful 2018. What I want people to understand about me is, I think here's the bit where I'm going to put down that I've got a stoma bag. Selfishly, I just think it's useful to save a bit of time. Like, there is a question for me always whether I put down that I've got the bag in my profile or whether I share it on the date or I wait till things get a bit more intimate. For me, it's just great to get it out of the way and put it in the app. I don't think I'm going to explain here what that means. I think it's just useful to let them Google it if they want to. But a stoma bag is a little pouch that you have attached to your belly. Often when you've got bowel cancer, one particular surgery is that you have part of your bowel removed and you end up pooing in a bag. And I've really welcomed having a bag. I really sort of have made friends with my bag because my bag is what saved my life. So that is not something I was ever scared of. I was always going to embrace it. But it is something that factors into my dating life, because if you're going to be intimate with someone, if you're going to maybe live with someone, you have to have a conversation at some point where they find out that you have the bag. So I've dated a little bit since I had my cancer diagnosis and treatment. And to start off with, weirdly, I wouldn't tell people that I'd had that happen. And I think that the dates didn't really go very far, and I think that's probably because I wasn't being totally honest. One of my dates was a bit of a problem because it was a blind date. I'd met him on a dating app, and my stoma bag farted very loudly during that date, and I just didn't feel like explaining to him what that was all about, so it just didn't go anywhere. What I found is that it's actually much better to be open with guys that I date that I've got the bag and that I've had cancer, because otherwise it just feels like I'm missing something out, and I don't think I feel that comfortable. What I have found though is people are more open with you in turn if you do share stuff, that serious things that have happened to you, like going through cancer, and big things that have changed to your body, like having a stoma. But sometimes I don't really want to have serious conversations. I just want to talk about what's your favourite sandwich? What my favourite sandwich is? My favourite sandwich is probably a cheese and pickle sandwich. One thing that I do find a bit of a struggle with dating is that because I have in my profile that I live with a stoma bag and I've had cancer, what's quite interesting is that people will message me as their opening gambit asking me about that. They ask these questions before we've even matched, and it's like this assumption that I'll just answer these questions whether or not we're interested in each other. And I find that really weird that strangers will message me asking me about things to do with my bag, which is, would you ask a stranger a question about their body? No. From a partner, I want them to be sociable. I quite like someone funny. For me, it's quite important I find someone in the same line of work as me. I want to be able to talk to someone about being a creative, being in comedy. I can't really see myself dating an accountant. No shade to accountants. On the other hand, I wouldn't mind dating a doctor. I don't know if there's something about me having had cancer, but I'm now quite engaged in the medical profession. I'm really interested in the gastrointestinal system. It's become accidentally something I'm an expert in. I mean, I won't say that to a doctor on a date because they'd be the expert, but I think it's something I'm engaged in. So yeah, either someone in the creative field or the medical field. My perfect date would be, so for me, my perfect date would involve a walk. I like to be active, I like to be outside, and I think a walk is a great chance to get to know someone and see how they view the world. What do they observe about what's going on around us? And it's just less intense. I don't want to sort of sit opposite someone like we're having an interview. So I think a walk followed by, of course, a pub. I love the pub. I don't care who knows. And then you can chill out a bit, and a drink is a good way to relax you as well. So we'll do walk to the pub. So, advice I would give my past self. I think just not to take things so seriously. And this isn't just to do with me having had cancer. The world has changed so much over the course of my lifetime. I was trying to like climb a particular ladder in my job. I was also really taking it all so seriously, and actually sometimes being quite unhappy because I had such like high goals for myself. And what cancer has shown me is that life itself is something to be really treasured, and just being on planet Earth and getting to experience even simple things like a nice sunny day, or, you know, a funny exchange with a stranger. Those are things that I value much more highly now than I did before I had cancer. What I'm most excited for in the future is just getting to meet new people, just trying to enjoy being here, because there was a time where I thought I might not be. I think it's really exciting to think about all the people that you might meet, and some of them you might hate, they might be dicks. But you might meet 5 dicks and then meet one person who's absolutely amazing. And I'm not just even talking about in your love life. Like, you might meet someone that you so amazingly gel with just as a mate, or, you know, as a lover. And I think it's really exciting to think about all the people you haven't met yet. I think people are really fun. For me, when I went through my cancer experience and I was getting surgery and chemotherapy, I didn't think about dating at all. It wasn't something I wanted to think about. I just wanted to focus on getting better. But I have to say, that's just my experience. Everyone is different. Some people might want to stay with normality. If your feeling is that you want to keep dating during your treatment, then that's absolutely fine, and that's what you should do, and that might be a way to make life continue feeling normal while this slightly abnormal thing is happening. If you need space, give yourself space. For me, it was really important to put a pause on the dating. You'd be surprised by how things can get back to normal after a cancer diagnosis. So don't be thinking everything's going to change, the world is upside down. In many ways, weirdly, a cancer diagnosis might help you connect better with people, because it's another of life's sort of quite universal experiences, and it might be another place on which you connect with your future love. In my dating life, the main thing that I do differently now, to be totally frank, is I don't have one-night stands anymore. I would have one-night stands before I had my cancer diagnosis. But now, because I've got a stoma bag and my body is so different from what it was before I had cancer, it's just, I just would not jump into bed with a stranger the way I used to do. It wasn't something I did loads, but like, that is just something I couldn't do now. I don't think it would just, I just don't know how that would work. Like, at what point do you tell them, by the way, I've got a bag attached to my body and it's full of poo? It's just not very sexy. So that's the main difference. I think in my dating life, I'm much more frank and open than I used to be before I had cancer, because I've had to be kind of unembarrassed and really open about what's going on with myself to get through my cancer treatment. You know, I've had probably 30 different health professionals see me naked and stick fingers up my bum and all sorts of stuff. I'm just much less shy, I think. So I'm very open and forward and forthcoming. And that definitely affects the way that I date. I'm probably much more forthcoming in my dating life too. My dating life these days, I don't date as much anymore. And I think that's because I don't really like the apps. It feels like it's a whole other layer of work. It feels like everyone's on this like cycle of the apps and swiping and chatting to people and then ghosting and starting again. I wish there was a different way of meeting people. It feels like the only way to meet people these days is through the apps. And I don't really enjoy the apps, and I'm not desperate to meet someone, so therefore I don't do the work of the apps and I never meet anyone. I'd love to meet someone in real life, but that just, I think the apps have made it so we don't talk to each other in real life, because we're like, well, I don't need to approach someone in a bar because I've got something in my pocket that gives me access to all the single people in my area anyway. Maybe that should be the next thing that I campaign on, is a movement where we all start to chat each other up in real life again. I'd love that. So yeah, that pretty much sums up my experiences of cancer and of dating. Really hoped you liked this video. If you did, please like and share it. And I'm so keen to hear what other people's experiences have been, so please do comment below if this has chimed with you.